Welcome to the colony.
The Gothic series has always stood out to me because it refuses to hold your hand. From the very beginning, the world feels dangerous, authentic, and completely indifferent to whether you survive or not. The early game can be brutal, and that's exactly why it works. You start as a nobody, a prisoner who can barely survive a fight against a single mole rat. But over time, through persistence, exploration, and careful planning, you become an absolute monster capable of taking on armies all by yourself. That progression is what makes Gothic so special. Every level up matters. Every gold nugget you find, every new weapon or piece of armor feels earned rather than handed to you. Very few RPGs manage to make progression feel this rewarding. The Gothic 1 remake preserves that feeling perfectly. On top of that, you have memorable characters, distinct factions that all have their own identity, an immersive world that's genuinely fun to explore, excellent visuals, and a fantastic soundtrack that captures the atmosphere of the original while feeling modern at the same time. The story itself is engaging enough to keep you invested, and there are plenty of enjoyable side quests along the way. Compared to giant open world RPGs like Skyrim or Oblivion, Gothic is much smaller and far more focused. But that's actually one of its greatest strengths. Everything works together. Learning points are limited, meaning you can't master every skill in a single playthrough. Gold has value, your choices matter. Unlike Skyrim or Oblivion, where you can grind almost indefinitely until you're good at everything, Gothic is a game with finite resources. It's less of a power fantasy sandbox and more of a simulation where every investment counts. And I honestly think that design philosophy makes the game much more replayable. As for the remake itself, I think it's safe to say that it's actually better than the original. Not only does it improve almost everything that was already there, but it also expands upon it in ways that feel completely natural. Combat is a great example. It's significantly more cohesive and much less clunky than it was back in 2001, but it still requires practice. Even with high level combat skills, you can't simply mash buttons and expect to win every fight. You have to time it. Exploration has also been expanded. Skills like climbing let you access hidden areas and loot that simply aren't available otherwise, giving you even more reasons to wander off the beaten path. Of course, no game is perfect. My biggest criticism is the movement speed. Outside of getting a scavenger mount, your character's running speed doesn't really improve. You can brew potions of swiftness through alchemy, but these only give you unlimited stamina for a while. They don't actually make you move faster. Normally, that wouldn't be a huge issue, but Gothic has you revisiting the same locations quite often. When you're exploring, farming experience, or looking for loot, that's perfectly fine. But when you're simply trying to reach the next quest objective, especially on a second playthrough, running through the same routes at a fairly slow pace starts to feel like unnecessary downtime. It feels like a time sink. Later in the game, you unlock teleportation runes, which definitely help, but they don't replace a more comprehensive fast travel system like the ones found in Skyrim or Oblivion. And honestly, I don't think that the lack of fast travel in the early game actually improves the experience. The challenging combat, the lack of hand-holding, and the immersive world building absolutely do. They're core parts of Gothic's identity, but having the option to travel faster after you've already explored an area wouldn't hurt the experience. And I think it's something many new players will notice. One mechanic that actually grew on me was lockpicking. At first, it was sort of frustrating, but after mastering, getting the hang of it, understanding the rhythm, it became surprisingly satisfying. After finishing the game twice with different builds, I have to agree that it's much easier to become overpowered with a sword axe or bow build than it is with a full mage build. You get to that point much quicker. Full mage build takes much longer to come online because of the investment required in mana and runes. But if you're patient, the payoff is absolutely there. And by late game, a properly built mage becomes incredibly powerful. You can clear enemies like a tornado. By the time the ending rolled, I had a great time. But I have to say, I think the true magic of Gothic 1 Remake is in the first several hours, when you're weak, when every enemy is dangerous, and when you're desperately saving enough for your first decent weapon or armor set. That feeling of slowly climbing from absolute nobody to legendary is what Gothic is all about. Overall, this remake exceeded my expectations. It's faithful to the original while improving and expanding upon it in meaningful ways, and I genuinely hope we get a Gothic 2 remake from the same developers, Akimi Interactive. They've done an outstanding job, and just as importantly, they've continued releasing patches that closely reflect community feedback. If you're a fan of narrative-driven action RPGs, Gothic 1 Remake is absolutely worth your time. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next one.